Yeah, just even adding on to what you said before about dancers, man. I feel like that environment is so toxic. Not all dancers are toxic, but from
Just
what
artists, rappers, singers.
yeah, true. I just feel like just dancers, man. Dancers are so lustful because you're listening, depending what music you're listening to as well. If you're listening to Chris Brown, Bump and Grind, man, that and then alcohol and stuff like that. Just from what I saw, especially being young and you're 16, around guys that same age as young men, it's just I don't know. The environment was just.
Yeah,
man,
but it's expression. It's free expression.
For sure. I'm not saying dancing itself is toxic, but maybe that's a different conversation. More so, the music that you listen to, you sort of adopt that as your genre of preference, and that genre of preference is telling you how to act. It's subconsciously telling you how to program. I love artists like C Breezy, Trey Songz. They make music for the girls, but I feel like there's a certain time and place for certain types of music.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to certain types of music, there's certain music that gets you in the mood for, say, meditation, for example. Like there's meditation music. There's certain music that gets you ready to go clubs. There's certain music that gets you ready to acts of violence. I'm not saying that,
Yeah, but that's like you're right in saying it's a different topic, a different conversation. Because when you talk about artists like Chris Brown and Trey Songz, I think they make those kind of music that they make to girls.
Yeah,
that's a business decision.
For sure. But my point is, they make that music as artists, and I believe you're supposed to consume that sparingly. When you listen to certain types of music all the time, it puts you in a certain mindset all the time. You know what I mean? Like if you're listening to like lustful types of music and you're in that mindset all the time, it's only going to tell you to think in a certain way. Just imagine if I was at home watching horror movies every day, I'd be a sick fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So
psychopath.
I think, and that goes into another topic of like the influence of like certain genres of drill, for example. I think in New York, they're trying to ban drill music.
Yes, I heard about that.
So do you believe...
Condones the violence.
What's your thoughts on that? Do you think...
It's free expression.
Yeah.
I think if you're out there making music, like we'll use drill music as an example, those dudes are making music instead of doing the things that they're rapping about.
Yeah, and some pretend to do the things they rap about. Or they do the crime so they can rap about it. There's two components to it.
But see that relates back to what I was talking about before, the toxicity in that industry.
Yeah.
Because it's when someone's art comes from
a creative place.
Yeah, but most of the time that creative place is trauma. Or broken, like the good content.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
True.
You don't hear about like the only thing I can think about is like with happy music, or something like that. Is like like maybe house music or electro.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, it creates that serotonin and that it brings out that side of you.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like hip hop and whatever it may be,
well, that's where hip hop originally came from. It came from people struggling in the
expression.
The gutters of New York, for example, because that's where it started. And then, they speak about their story of abuse, of poverty, of corruption, and that makes a good story. So, yeah, for sure. A lot of times it originates in trauma. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, so, but taking it back to what we were originally talking about, I had to get out of that. I had to get out of that community in order to really focus on what I needed to do, the direction of my life that I need to take.
Yeah.
Like you can't be listening to, like you said, you can't be listening to all these things constantly, and then your life kind of subconsciously goes down that road of what you're listening to. Too much of anything is bad for you.
Yeah.
Like, and that applies to anything in your life, whether it be like a healthy diet or porn or gaming. Too much. If you do too much of an activity that you use for escape, you're constantly escaping and avoiding what you need to face head on.
Yeah, anything can be a form of escapism. Because recently, I'm just trying to think of the right way to word it. Talking to an individual that uses a lot of pornography. Porn is the worst thing for guys, man.
Yeah. Because
men usually they want various amounts of women, and as humans you crave compatibility. And for young guys, when for the average guy, whatever that means to you, it's harder for them to get that sexual access from girls, because guys always want that. And when they can't get that, they form a relationship with pornography, and in their mind, it's always there for them. And then when you start watching it consistently, you just get lazy. You don't feel like you need to make effort with girls.
You also disconnect with everything outside of it.
Yeah, for sure. And then even if you get into a circumstance where you're with an actual female, you start to replicate what you've seen in those videos, which is most of the time it's not realistic. And it desensitizes you. You start to objectify. You
don't think porn can be used for educational purposes
for 100%,
as well?
100%. But as I said, if someone's using it all the time and they become desensitized, they start to go to deeper categories, and it becomes worse. And that's your standard that you use to escape, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed with young guys, obviously, it's the easiest thing to get access to. You're getting all this stimulation for no work. So just imagine that you've got this access of a wide range of categories. You open it up, you do whatever you got to do, and you keep doing it. It skews your mindset 100%.
Has there ever been a time in your life, in the last 29 years of your life?
Yeah.
Probably the last 20 years, because you weren't masturbating when you were like a baby.
Damn, man, we're getting into
but
this.
Have you ever watched porn? right. Now listen, I got a question. Have you ever watched porn for any other reason besides masturbating?
Nah, man. What the fuck?
So, when you do that, is that when you have to recognize you watching porn as an addiction?
Yeah.
Because it's a fine line. Like a lot of dudes like don't realize they're addicted to porn.
100%.
When do you realize that you've crossed that line?
Most people don't realize they're addicted to many things.
Yeah.
Because gaming can be an addiction, an escapism, alcoholism. There's many things that people do as a form of escape.
Especially with COVID.
Yeah.
With COVID, a lot of people started certain activities to escape their mental state. Like even gaming. Gaming was a massive one.
100%.
A lot of dudes bought PlayStations just to escape, do something indoors.
For sure.
And then now that we're out, a lot of dudes are still gaming more hours than they're going out. It's like playing FIFA more than actually going out and kicking the ball.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? There's no balance there.
Yeah. So just going back to what I was saying, for this person I was talking to, I just tell them you have to stop watching it, because if you have difficulty attracting females in general, that is not going to benefit you in any way at all. I mean, it might benefit you if you want to learn something, but more times than not, if you're watching it every day or every second day, even once a week, each to their own. I just don't think there's much benefit to it.
So in you telling this person you're speaking to, what is hard for you to get the message across to them?
Well, because this person hasn't had much luck with the opposite sex, and because of the stage they're at in their life, they need to build themselves up to a point where they become more of a man. And watching this consistently is making them it's withdrawing them from actually forming relationships with real life women, because they haven't had much experience with women. And because of that, it's easy just to go back to watching porn, because as I said, it's always there for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Any category you want, you just look it up and it's there. Yeah. You know what I mean? I shouted a bit too loud in the mic, but you know what I mean? And especially if you haven't had that affection from a lady, it's easier to go to until you actually get that and you feel what it's like for a girl to care for you, whether it's truly intimately or just physically. And then you realize this is better than relying on the internet. So in
you knowing all this and having all this experience behind you, take yourself as the first perspective. Now put yourself in the second perspective. The second perspective is putting yourself in that person's shoes.
Of course.
How do you think that person feels?
That person
from
feels
their experience, because you would know their experience talking to them.
Yeah, that person feels like shit. For sure. That's why when you're approaching people, when you're trying to help people, you got to take a compassionate approach. More times than not, everybody has a different approach and different things work. I just feel like with guys, you have to tell them up front so they understand the consequences of their actions. Even girls too, women too.
So, all right. So that's first perspective, second perspective. Now, third perspective. Third perspective is say we've got a table, square table like this. Your first perspective, you're on one side. Second perspective, the person you're talking to is on the other side. Now be the person that's in the between you guys. Sitting in that perspective, looking at these, like both of you, where do you see the disconnect?
The disconnect is that I'm not in his situation, but I've been relatively close, because most guys at a young age discover the internet and pornography, and you know, it is what it is. Some guys get caught up in it deeply, some guys don't. But because I've had more life experience than this person, that's one aspect. The second aspect is that he hasn't had any life experience, and he doesn't see beyond his perspective because he hasn't had that life experience yet, because he's a bit younger. So that's the disconnect there. So yeah, obviously I'm coming from a good place. It just depends on how you communicate.
Yeah, definitely. But that's the thing. Like, the thing is, it's not about like what you think, more about what he's thinking. So like, that's the biggest thing. Like, the mystery is, how the heck do you connect with him on a level where he can understand where you're coming from? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, you can tell him all this stuff, all this data, all this experience and everything, and it's a lot for him to take in. Yeah. Like, he's obviously a younger, like you're saying, he's a younger guy from you. Yeah. It's just hard for, like, how are you actually helping him rather than just telling him? Well, okay, yeah. You know what I mean?
So
like, that's what I'm trying to get at.
For him, it's a form of escapism. If you just tell someone to quit eating junk food and you don't give them a solution to why they should stop eating junk food, and show them like a healthy lifestyle, the feeling of being fit and exercising, if you don't show them the other alternative, it's quick to go back to your old ways. Right. So I've kind of emphasized the healthy lifestyle of eating right, fitness, what it feels like to get a natural high after you've worked out, having certain goals in mind to accomplish, and how these can reach like long-term satisfaction as opposed to instant gratification. Because as we know, instant gratification, you go up and then soon you're going to crash down. And he's had enough of that. So showing him certain ways of, you know, feeling happy in the long run by setting certain goals, I can see it's helping for sure. It's just that at the age he's at now, younger than me, but so stuck in his ways, it just takes a lot of, I guess, deprogramming, if that makes sense. It does.
Reprogramming.
Yeah, and that too, yeah.
Sometimes, like, what I've learned from experience is sometimes you have to unlearn everything that you know, that you've learned, and learn something completely different. In order to get the result that you want to get to. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I mean, he's young. He's definitely got to make his mistakes. And he has to learn from them. Whether he learns from them or not, it's not on you, but at least you've done the right thing by him, and at least setting footprints in his life where maybe he'll go through these things and actually experience them firsthand, and then come back and be like, oh, that's what he meant. Yeah. That's what he meant when he said this.
I want to say something else as well, but I think if I say this, I'll kind of bait him out. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Easy.
But
100%. Because like, when I was younger, you know, like, I had a lot of people telling me what I should do, where I should go, how I should be, the potential I have.
Well, that's the thing. If they lead by example, it's easier for you to believe them as opposed to just saying what 100%. You should do.
It's good that he has someone in his life who can direct him and give him an explanation, an unfiltered explanation, like an R-rated explanation, like not something that's sugar-coated. Yeah. Because and again, only talking personal experience, I never had anyone to take the filters off, the blindfolds off, actually tell me the middle process, not tell me where I should be and where I'm going. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you have people constantly telling me you should be doing this at this age, and you should be over here already. Yeah. And you're just asking the person, how the fuck do I get there? Like, you're not telling me the middle process. Yeah. Like, you're not telling me how you got there. Like, it's like no one wants a lot of people don't want to, like, they miss or they leave blanks in their story, and you just meant to figure it out on your own. So you like, they're automatically setting an expectation for you that you already know you can't meet. You already have insecurities, and you already know you can't meet it. So like, how the fuck are you meant to believe or like, you know, confide in the person that's telling you should be here? If anything, you're just gonna fucking disregard and be like, I don't want to tell him anything now, because otherwise he's gonna fucking think I'm worthless or prey on my insecurities anymore. That's why I give you props, and that's why I put it in that perspective. Because like, I think if you're trying to help someone or give someone advice, you have to be able to sit in their shoes or remember what it's like, and then tell them your experience personally.
100%, yeah.
And tell them your flaws, because I think we all learn. If we're all learning from our mistakes for our own personal growth, others should be able to learn from our mistakes more than our successes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
clip that. Yeah,
100%. I mean, it's been a fucking massive journey, bro.
So just even adding on to that for something to talk about. Have you ever tried semen retention?
No.
Would you ever consider it?
Yes. But honestly, don't know if I could do it.
Yeah. Why?
If I was single,
true.
Like, to be honest, bro, if I was single, I didn't even know if I have the
mental capacity or
the discipline,
motivation to
the discipline. I don't think I would have the discipline to do it or to see it through.
I think it's easy to say that now because when a guy is recently single, depends on the person, they usually just go crazy because they haven't been in that situation for a long time.
It alters your thing. Like when you haven't come.
What?
When you haven't come. When you haven't released.
Yeah.
It alters. Like I feel like it alters my mood.
Perspective. Yeah.
My mood.
Yeah.
So and then when you release, you just feel like
lazy.
Lazy. But when you release, it's more like a like a breath, like, oh, it's gone. Thank goodness.
Yeah. That's the thing, bro. The longest streak I've ever had has been 94 days.
So you've done it?
Yeah, I did 94 days.
Nice.
94 days. No sex.
What was the period that was the hardest in the 94 days?
So, okay.
Did it ever get easier? Okay, first answer the first question, I'll ask the next question.
So I'm just going to, so basically I feel like when you get up to a week, you have to build it up in sections at a time. Meaning you have to do a week first, 2 weeks. You got to kind of build it up. You can't just, for guys, for example, like the guy I was talking about, from watching porn all the time to trying to do semen retention, you're not going to get to even a month. You have to kind of cut porn out completely and then do your mental.
I was going to say that. So let's be clear for our viewers.
Yeah.
What does semen retention consist of? Is it just no porn?
Yeah.
Is it no touching yourself?
So there's different communities out there. There's the no fap community, which is no.
What does that mean?
I forgot what it stands for, but it basically means no watching porn.
Okay.
But you can obviously still release. And then there's semen retention, which is the next level above, which is no releasing at all. And there's certain methods where people have claimed, I've never tried it, where they still have sex, but they don't release. And they're able to channel that sexual energy within.
Interesting.
To me, that sounds like blue balls, if you ask me.
Yeah, man.
But apparently it actually works. So I've tried semen retention. I've got up to 94 days. That was like a big achievement. Very happy for myself. Bro. But when I first tried semen retention, when you get to like a week, 2 weeks, depending what you're doing in your life. So for example, if you're on social media a lot and you're on your explore page and you're looking at girls, that's all going to subconsciously build up in your mind and you're going to have a wet dream. 100%.
I know, but does that count?
So many times to
does that count in semen retention?
Nah, because when you
it's not your control.
If it's happened to you, you release all of your sacred energy that you've built up, the semen, and you start to feel drained, just like, after you've busted a nut.
Is that like detoxing your mind? Sort of? No?
Semen retention?
Yeah, like that part. Like semen. So before you said the thing below semen retention is
no fap.
Yes. So it's you're allowed to release, just not watching porn.
Yeah.
So that would be that.
Yeah.
Like that would be like you're allowed to have wet dreams, but not thingo.
In no fap.
In no fap. In no fap. In semen retention, you're not allowed to have wet dreams.
I mean, you can't. I mean, you're not supposed to, because that defeats the purpose of retaining your seed.
But see, like how to me, sounds hard.
It's difficult, but my point is, like, once you minimize all the lustful options, like everything you watch on TV or social media, because it's more on your phones these days. Because let's face it, if you look at a single guy's explore page, you can see exactly what they're about.
That's what I mean. It's so hard to escape it.
Yeah, but you can minimize it, because like when I was on that mission, I could see beautiful girls on the gram, but I won't absorb it too much. I'll just look at it. Okay, done. I'll turn my head or just get out of it. I don't absorb it. I guess it's a form of like dismissing what's in front of you.
Yeah.
So me doing that over time, you kind of build up to the endurance of that 90 days, which is difficult. And to be honest, I did do it during lockdown, which was much easier.
So the first 2 weeks was the hardest.
Yeah. So the first 2 weeks that I did it was when I used to find it difficult to do 2 weeks when I was early 20s.
Okay.
But that was when I was way more lustful than I am now. Now that I'm older, I understand the benefits of minimizing
the
exposure to certain things. And now it's just easy for me. I can just go weeks without having to. If you're a guy that's on your explore page, movies you watch pornography, you're not going to get to 90 days.
That's called control.
Yeah.
Control.
But the benefits of semen retention, you have way more energy to do certain things.
No,
just think about, like, if you've ever busted a nut, we've said that like 6 times now. In that moment, you feel tired. Even the next day, you feel tired. That's me at least. So if that energy is making you tired just like that, imagine what it does when you retain it, when you restore it. Yeah.
And then you focus it into
because
something.
that energy, that retention, that energy, sex, everything serves for a purpose. We're here, I believe, to procreate. And you can create a whole life. As you know, you've got three children.
Right.
When you hold on to that energy and you redirect it to do other things, you can do some amazing things. You're more productive because you're not prioritizing sex. And then you can use it in other ways. So I've noticed after a week, my energy levels rise. I've noticed even after 2 weeks, I feel way more better. And they say, don't know if it's true or not, you attract the opposite sex better because they say your body wants to release it because we're here to procreate, and you release pheromones and stuff like that so you can attract the opposite sex. And I feel like it's worked, but at the same time, how do I know? Because who knows if those opportunities would have happened anyway. You know what I mean? But I definitely recommend it for guys that are trying to sort things out, because when you hold on to your energy, things kind of...
In your 94 days, did it get easier?
Yeah. There'll be days where... Okay, so when you're doing your retention, you have to have ways of getting out that energy. If you're just sitting down all day,
then
because your blood flow flows to the middle center, you're gonna get frustrated. Because I like to exercise and I'm doing that all the time, it's way easier to not feel frustrated. If you don't exercise at all, fair enough. You have to do some yoga, Pilates, gym, soccer, but you have to be doing it every day.
You have to focus that energy, that built up energy somewhere.
Yeah. Because as guys, maybe girls get the same way. When guys want sort of a de-stressor, they usually lean towards doing masturbation.
I can agree.
Usually, and sometimes you don't realize where it's coming from, but that's just the way that
100%, because you don't really
release your stress.
Yeah, that's right. You don't really think into it. Especially, this is relating back to what we were talking about before. Too much of anything is bad for you.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you get used to the activity of masturbation to release and escape that feeling.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a thing, like a thing you do. Like when you feel it, it comes up and all right, masturbate, and I get rid of it and then move on. But what you're saying is definitely something to look into, to try it.
Yeah.
Because we could be, putting, like you said, putting in other aspects of our lives to better better that priority, better that decision.
I think there's different elements to being a man, but I think one important aspect is to be sexually disciplined. Because our biggest weakness when it comes to just every day is a woman or beautiful women. And most guys will do anything just to get the attention of the opposite sex. There's guys that will snake their friends just for a girl when there's so many other girls out there. 100%. It's easier said than done.
And that's natural. That's something a lot of women don't realize men are born naturally with.
I think a lot of girls know that because... A lot of girls would,
They don't want to admit it.
I mean, we'll save the male versus female debate for when we have other girls on the cast or on the table.
A woman's perspective.
But a lot of girls, they know that, but a lot of guys just give into it, 100%. And I feel like having that discipline just makes you more desirable to the opposite sex, and even for yourself, because you should be doing things for yourself, and as a byproduct, 100%. You attract the girls or the money or whatever it may be.
Going back, like it's a form of control. I mean, in talking about it, it sounds like the ultimate control that a man could have over himself. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're faced with, especially in our society today.
Yeah,
like a man today is a lot different than a man before.
Yeah, of course.
In the previous generations. So for us to, if we can be sexually disciplined, it's a huge form of control that we can also apply into other aspects of our lives.